Hey everybody, welcome to week 5. Okay, so we're really into things now in week 5. We're getting into Microsoft Excel. So we've gone through Microsoft Outlook, right? We've gone through Microsoft Word, and you've seen how those two things, there's kind of the basic understanding of what they are and what they offer, but we've gone a step further and said, okay, there's a lot more you can do. So same thing goes with Excel. You may have some understanding of Excel, but the hope is that in the next couple of weeks, you're going to really see that kind of basic understanding leapfrog really high and really give you a good understanding of what it can do. So those of you who don't know what Excel is, you're going to find very quickly in the lecture what it is, but let me tell you a little bit. This is a spreadsheet program for Microsoft Office. This is something in which you can collect and organize and sort through massive amounts of data. Lots and lots of information. This is a place where you can kind of use it as a repository for information, but then you can present that information in a variety of different ways based on your needs, okay? So you might be thinking of things that are as basic as a shopping list or a Christmas list, or something like something I did when I was in college an intern in Washington, D.C. I did voting lists for people in Congress. So I had a list of all the members and whether yay or nay, and so things like that, or things like payroll. If you're running your own business or you work in human resources and you need to have some sort of big, list, some sort of big a spreadsheet full of all the information, the personal information of all the people who work in your company. This is the kind of stuff you can do with Excel. And in a sense, it kind of works like a database, but it does a lot more than just that. So it can be intimidating at first, but take your time. Go through the lecture and go through it slowly. Now we're going to go over some of those kind of key features in Excel. Things like how do I input things in a cell and how do I make a table look a certain way, to things like how do I develop a chart and graph. And there's going to be an assignment next week on that. And also things like how do I use formulas and functions. Basically, you can do things in Excel like if you have a list of numbers, let's say that it's your own personal budget or your grocery list or something like that, you want to see how much it all adds up to in the end. You can put in a very basic sum function where it'll automatically add up all that stuff. You don't have to do anything. It's wonderful. It's got a built-in computer, so built-in calculator. So a lot of these things are what Excel really excels at, and so you're going to find very quickly that it is really a very functional, very beneficial program for pretty much any kind of background, any kind of career you're going into, and frankly, just for your own personal lives. When you think about things like putting together a monthly budget or a yearly budget, or you think about car payments and the schedule for paying it, or your credit card bill, or your home mortgage, or your rent, and you want to kind of see how much money is going to each one of those things, you can do all of that in one very easy spreadsheet. We'll have more to say about that down the road, but lots of really cool stuff that you can learn about this week in Excel. Now, we do have as we always do, we have a discussion, and this week discussion is going to be about kind of those practical aspects of Excel. And so I'll have more to say about that in another video. The other thing that you're going to be doing this week is this graphic literacy assessment. Now, this is part of the ACT assessments that you're going to be doing throughout your time here at Bryant Stratton, and this is what's going to lead to a certification. This is basically like a career-ready or a professional-ready certification you're going to get at the end of your time here at Bryant Stratton, and you do little pieces of that certification process throughout your time. In this class, we're going to be doing the one on graphic literacy. So what does that mean? Well, you can see it in the word itself. Graphic literacy is all about how strong you are at reading graphs, how literate you are, essentially, at reading information in graphs. So this is a 38-question test. It's not going to factor into your overall grade, so don't worry if you get a 20 on it or a 50. It's not going to affect your overall grade. But these 38 questions are really going to challenge you to see how well you can read charts and graphs and images, any kind of thing, any kind of graphic representation that has information on it that you need to take from it. Some of these are really easy. Some of these are really high, okay? We've got everything from high school equivalency all the way to doctoral level stuff. So it's not expected that you get a really high grade here. Don't worry about that. This is really just a step in a broader process. But it really is going to give you an opportunity to really start thinking about graphic literacy. And how do you encounter these kinds of questions on a day-to-day basis? And ultimately, why does it matter? And that's where this week's reflection comes in. You're really just going to talk about that. Why does it matter? A lot of you have heard me say in my notes to you on the previous reflections, the big thing in these reflections is the why factor. telling me why does it matter? How am I going to apply this and why am I going to use this in my career? So in this reflection, you're going to do much the same thing. So Excel, we're going to discussion board. We're going to have the graphic literacy assessment and the graphic literacy reflection. If you have any questions, folks, you know where to reach me. Thanks.